with half a grain of sense can tell, should be able to tell that this is not normal. This is not normal, rational responses to a conflict that's going on in another part of the world. That's got nothing to do with these people. This is what I'm trying to get across in my videos here. All these Western people in the Western world that have come online with this with peace side, fanatically supporting that side and fanatically closing their minds, their eyes, their ears, their minds, their hearts, everything to Israel and the Jewish plight as well, for what they are going through, what they have been going through ever since they've come into existence in the modern era. To be so quick and easy and willing to turn a blind eye to what they're going through. They face attacks every single friggin' day of their lives. They're constantly losing citizens in their country because of attacks into their country, almost on a daily basis, guys. They have to live a type of life that nobody in the Western world, nobody in the free democratic world, nobody in large established nations anywhere around the world, sort of thing, stable democracies, would ever think of in a million years of having to deal with. Bombs going off, missiles going over, and all this sort of stuff on it. And this has been their lives for the past pushing 80 odd years now, sort of thing. This is the reality in the Middle East for the Jewish people. And people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to acknowledge that part of it, sort of thing. They just want Israel to capitulate and to just roll over and to just basically die, cease to exist, and cave in to all the pressure from around them, from all the nations around them, and all the power brokers and special interests or whatever from the outside world, the Western world, and that have all been bought up. So our institutions of higher education have been bought up. Most of our mainstream media agencies seem as though they've been bought up, sort of thing. And again, you say, like, how is that conceivably possible? But then again, when you talk about the nations in the Middle East, guys, that are financing all of these terrorist groups and so on, they have money beyond you all imagining, sort of thing. So again, I have to say, it is reasonably conceivably possible to believe that it can be possible that some of these super rich Gulf nations and all the rest of that are all Islamic themselves, sort of thing, have the ability to infiltrate all of our institutions of higher education and to infiltrate all of our mainstream media agencies, sort of thing, to pump out their agenda of what's going on, to side with their overall game plan. And their overall game plan is, guys, to take over the Western world, to make Islam the dominant religion throughout the world, and to subject as much of this planet as they possibly can under the power of their religion. Now, that sounds like utter complete madness that any religion would try to do that. But the more I find out about the way Islam is structured and their belief systems and all the rest of it, how the religion came into existence in the first place, and how it spread in the first place, and the kinds of insane, I can only call them basically devil doctrines that are within their so-called holy book, that states that they should be constantly at war with the non-Muslim world. It's within their teachings that they must be at war with the non-Muslim world. So when you have a religion that has principles or teachings or whatever built into the very nature and framework of the religion itself, that tells its adherents that this is the way you must be, the kind of attitude and mentality that you must have in order to be a good adherent to that particular religion, and you have that pumped into your head from childhood onward, guys. I've seen videos, online, how they teach the Quran to the kids and so on. That you slap them down in front of the Quran, X number of hours trying to recite passage after passage after passage, and they have to get it right, and they can be punished if they don't get it right, and so on and so forth. I can't say we'll now 100% certainty that it happens in every single solitary Muslim country in the world. Maybe there's forms of Islam that are a little bit more light in the way it presents the religion to the future generations, but this aspect of it exists as well. It's like you are indoctrinated with such zeal and intensity that it basically damages you from early childhood onward. You don't have the chance to think for yourself and have the ability to think independently for yourself. And so when you've got like several 100 million, whatever the so-called population of the Muslim world is currently, indoctrinated that way from childhood onward, and then when you have even further extremist elements that emerge out of that religion because of that way of thinking anyway, and then no one speaks out against that because you're all indoctrinated more or less the same way regardless, No one speaks out against it when bombings occur, when people are slaughtered, when the religion is pushed into parts of the world that don't want it, and when they push two-tier law systems and two-tier policing systems, and when you can't speak out against them, when you can't speak out against their religion for fear of being attacked some way, reprisals, or possibly losing your life or whatever, if you speak out against them. I mean, you can see, you can very, and when you realize this is the whole history of that religion from day one, pretty much from when its first inception, you start to then get to have a slightly clearer picture of why everything is unfolding the way it is unfolding. This has possibly been decades into the making, guys, for all we know. What has been transpiring over the past couple of years has possibly been in the planning stages. Now, so we already know, it's already been substantiated that they have infiltrated the educational system, the higher education, the colleges and universities and so on, that all throughout the Western world now for at least 20 years, possibly a better part of 40 years. So that's a good chunk of my lifetime, So if you're talking 40 years, guys, if it started like back in the 70s or whatever, again, you're talking about at least two generations of Westerners that have been indoctrinated with Islamic propaganda. Like all the world over, again, France, Britain, Germany, possibly Canada here, United States, like all the major key players in the Western world sort of thing, who have had their institutions of higher learning infiltrated by Islamic extremist propaganda rhetoric sort of thing, brainwashed to think a certain way, never allowed to ask questions, never allowed to research alternative points of view and so on that. Coming out now, being leaders in these institutions, being leaders in politics and all the rest of it, being leaders in business and all the rest of it. Because again, if it was 40 years ago, well, they're close to my age, so they're already out there making these changes to suit this type of indoctrination sort of thing, So it shouldn't be surprising. It really shouldn't be surprising that we're seeing this manifesting here now, sort of thing. How we have been asleep for so long to not be aware of it. How the the news media before they were compromised and bought out and all the rest of it didn't report it more. The disturbing trends of teaching the kids these things and so on. That. It's beyond me. How they managed to get away with it for so long, and why you would invest so much time. You see, that is at a diabolical level. and that's the only word I think of to use for it, sort of thing. A group of people, a religion that invests that much time and energy to indoctrinate other people, to try to take over, not because of the depth of your spiritual teachings or anything like that. It's just because just fanatical sense that you're right, everyone else is wrong, and that you will dominate the other at all costs. Because that's what your religion says, and to be a good practicing member of that religion, that's what you have to do, sort of thing. Not to say that, is some of our teachings really ethical? Are they moral? Are they common sense? Are they humane? It's like sit back and to question some of those teachings, sort of thing. Oh, well, our religion says this, it's straight from your understanding of God, their understanding of God, sort of thing. It's divinely inspired. We have to accept it. Whether we're comfortable with it or not, we have to accept it to be a good practicing member of this religion, sort of thing. I don't know. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. I mean, it's terrifying when you take people at a very, very early age and you do that to them, and you breed fanatics of that level that have no moral, common sense, moral, guidelines or whatever, a compass, they keep saying, or whatever, to cause you to pull back and just second guess. Oh my goodness, like, really, do I want to do this? I mean, it's like the outcome of it, sort of thing. It can't be right, it's like, what are we trying to do here? What are we trying to prove? I mean, what are we trying to create, sort of thing, So, I mean, you have the whole of the Middle East there, guys. Almost 30 minutes, and again, I'm going to include this up right now. You have the whole of the Middle East there, guys, that where this religion controls the masses. Again, all I have to do is to point to anybody to look at the women in the Islamic world, to look at Muslim women, and to look at how they are treated, and how they must live and how they must cover up, sort of things. Like, anybody with a functioning brain at all should look at a Muslim woman and how they're expected to submit every aspect of their lives, to this religion, and to the men, males in this religion as well, and say to yourself, something is really not right with this religion. Something is really off massively, that it can treat half of the population of the religion, the female population of the religion, sort of thing, as objects, as things, just to do with whatever you please and treat whatever way you please, sort of thing. It's like, why can't people just stop for a bloody second and just look at that alone and second guess what this religion is about? We don't have this in the Western world. We fought for generations to try to get this kind of misogynist, extremist thinking out of the Christian religion and the Christian world, and I think we have succeeded to a very large degree, sort of thing. That has not yet taken place within the Muslim world, the Islamic world, sort of thing, and so. Because of that, they are still operating with a mentality that Christianity probably would have operated at 500 or 600 years ago, probably. They're still back in that kind of mentality, sort of thing. They have not. There has, as far as I can tell, there's yet to be any major reforms within Islam. So it is backward. It is brutal. It is. It's savage. It is heartless. I mean, there's no feeling, no compassion in the way the message is spread, the way it's pumped into the heads of future generations and all the rest of it, sort of thing. It's just basically all a set of rules and regulations that you must adhere to fanatically, because if you don't, you're going to go to a horrible place of punishment. Not unlike our Christian concept of, eternal damnation or whatever. I think there's one thing that they took from Christianity that they didn't need to take from it, to make their religion even more fanatical still, all of these rules and regulations and doctrines without the love, compassion component that has got to be in any religion for it to have any spiritual substance to it, any spiritual meatiness sort of thing. So your doctrines come into existence out of the love perspective of how it changes the person for the better. So if you got a whole set of rules and regulations that you adhere to fanatically, whether they're wise or not, whether they're humane or not, and you and you follow them like a mindless, senseless robot, oh Lord, guys, I wish the stuff would come to me that I want to express what I'm trying to express there, sort of thing. That's the ADD again. Like, there's something that prevents me from getting the message out. Everything I'm trying to say here right now is not coming to me quickly and clearly and readily and with the terminology that I want to express. So I'm kind of fumbling over my words. I'm kind of fumbling over my thoughts. So I know what I want to get out here, but it's not coming out the way I want it to come out. That's part of the frustration and probably part of why my videos aren't getting off the ground better as well, sort of thing. I know what I'm saying is true. I know what I'm saying makes sense, And just from the little that I've exposed myself to over the past 2 years of the religion, there's nothing spiritual about it. There's I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it came into existence. I know the claims that it makes of itself, But if you compare this religion and how it operates to pretty much almost any other religion on the planet, really, when it comes right down to it, sort of thing, there's virtually next to no true spiritual component to it, sort of thing, I mean, I could say a whole bunch now that comes to my mind as to who this individual was that inspired this religion, but again, as a perfect example of what I'm saying about how unspiritual the religion is, you can't do that without running the risk of putting yourself at risk, majorly at risk. And that in and of itself, guys, says how unspiritual this religion actually is. When you can't criticize legitimate points, legitimate unhealthy teachings that should be criticized, that should be analyzed, and possibly thrown out of the religion as not being useful and productive for the religion or for the betterment of those that follow within it, sort of thing, So we see the kind of cultures that exist in the Middle East. They exist throughout the Arabic world, sort of thing. Anywhere where this religion dominates, we see the kind of cultures that exist in these countries.